The underwater cities of the Talians glowed blue against the dark ocean floor. Elder Nari stood at the tall glass window, watching the violent currents sweep past. She had never seen waves this strong before. Their sun, once calm and steady, now flashed and pulsed in strange ways. Each new burst sent massive waves across their water world. "Elder, the signal device is ready," said Technician Doe. His skin had a blue color that reflected the red warning lights all around them. He looked tired. They all did. Nari nodded slowly. "Send it again. Make it stronger this time." This would be the 18th year they had sent their message into space. 18 years of asking for help. 18 years of silence in return, thus. Talians were excellent star watchers and knew much about the universe around them. They had mapped thousands of stars and planets. They knew many places had life. Some had built great ships that traveled between stars. The Talians themselves had never built such ships. They had focused on other skills: medicine, ocean farming, and deep-sea buildings that could withstand the pressure of their world's massive oceans. Now that choice might doom them all. "Message is sending, Elder," said Doe, his webbed fingers moving across the control panel. This new power level should reach even further than before. The room hummed with energy as their quantum signal booster sent their cry for help to over 30 different worlds they knew had space travel. The message was simple. "Our star is dying. Our world is dying. We cannot leave on our own. Please help us." Nari touched the cold glass of the window. Outside, the city's outer dome showed small cracks from the latest wave. Workers in protection suits swam frantically to repair them. "Will anyone answer this time?" asked young Assistant Hua. She had been just a child when the first distress calls went out. "Someone must," said Nari, though her hope was fading like their dying sun. Far away, on a huge space station that moved between stars, the Galactic Council met in their grand hall. 12 different species sat at the round table, each one from the oldest and most advanced civilizations in known space. Representative Q, tall and gray-skinned, placed a glowing cube in the center of the table. It projected images of the Talian world, showing the unstable star and the ocean planet. "We have received their 18th annual distress signal," Q said flatly. "The situation has grown worse. Their star will collapse completely within 3 years. "Have they developed space travel yet?" asked a council member with 4 arms. "No," replied Q. "They remain a water-bound species." Another member, who looked like a walking tree, rustled its leaves. "Then our policy is clear. We do not interfere with natural evolutionary processes. If they cannot save themselves, it is not our place to change their fate." "All in favor of maintaining non-interference?" Q asked. Every hand, tentacle, and appendage in the room raised in agreement. "The case is closed," Q said, closing the file on his screen. "The Talian situation will be noted in our records as a regrettable but natural conclusion to their evolutionary path." None of them spoke of the real reason behind their decision. The Talians had little to offer more advanced species. Their technology was impressive for an ocean world, but not valuable enough to justify a massive rescue mission. The expense would be enormous, the benefit small. Millions of light years away on a small blue planet called Earth, something unexpected happened. Communications Officer Park sat at her station in the newly built Deep Space Listening Post in South Korea. Humans had only recently developed technology to detect quantum signals from distant stars. They had been listening for any signs of intelligent life beyond their world. Park sat upright, suddenly adjusting her headphones. A pattern was emerging from the background noise of space. Not random. Deliberate. "Director Kim," she called out, her voice shaking with excitement. "I'm receiving something. It's not one of ours." Director Kim rushed over, his coffee forgotten on his desk. "Are you certain?" "Absolutely," Park said, pointing to her screen where a clear pattern repeated. "This is an artificial signal, and it's..." She paused, running it through the translation program they had developed. "It's a distress call." The room fell silent as the translated message appeared on the main screen. "Our star is dying, our world is dying. We cannot leave on our own. Please help us. Director Kim stared at the message, then at the source coordinates. How far? 27 light years, Park answered. Well within reach of our new drive system. Kim took a deep breath. Humanity had only recently developed faster-than-light travel. They had sent probes, but no crewed missions yet. Their ships were small, experimental. Can we tell who else received this message? He asked. Park typed rapidly, analyzing the signal pattern. It seems to have been broadcast widely, at least 30 targeted directions. This isn't their first call for help either. The message indicates they've been sending this for 18 years. And no one has answered, Kim said quietly. He looked around the room at the stunned faces of his team. Humans had dreamed of finding other life among the stars. They had prepared for many scenarios: hostile aliens, peaceful contact, strange new life forms. But they had never imagined their first alien communication would be a desperate cry for help that everyone else in the galaxy had ignored. Well, Kim said firmly, they have an answer now. Get me the Secretary General. Earth just received its first interstellar rescue mission. Remember to cite your sources using the format if you use information from web searches. Captain G stood on the bridge of the UES Mercy, watching as the stars streaked past the large front window. She had never imagined being the first human to lead a mission to another world. The ship had been built for scientific exploration, then quickly changed to serve as a rescue vessel when the Talion message was received. How much longer? She asked, turning to Navigator Bay. About 6 hours until we exit faster-than-light travel, Bay answered, checking the glowing screens in front of him. Then 2 more hours at normal speed to reach the Talion world. G nodded, and walked to where Diplomatic Officer Han sat studying his screen. He had spent the entire 6-month journey learning everything possible about the Talions from their messages. What do we know about them? G asked. Han looked up. They are water breathers. Their entire civilization developed underwater. They have cities built on the ocean floor. Their technology is advanced in many ways, especially in medicine and building underwater structures. But they never developed space travel. And their sun is dying. G added softly. Yes, Han confirmed. Based on the data they sent, it's become unstable. The increased energy is causing massive ocean currents that are destroying their cities. Eventually, the sun will expand and boil their oceans completely. Science Officer Lee joined them, bringing up a hologram of the Talion star system. The situation may be worse than they described. Their last message was sent a year ago. Light takes time to travel. Things might have gotten much worse since then. Captain G frowned. Why didn't anyone help them? Their messages reached at least 30 different worlds with space technology. Han shook his head. We don't know. Maybe those civilizations have rules against helping less advanced species. Maybe they didn't think it was worth the effort. Maybe they're just cold. 6 hours later, the UES Mercy slowed down as it entered the Talion system. The bridge crew gasped when their sun came into view. It pulsed an angry red, with massive flares shooting from its surface. That's not good, said Lee, checking his instruments. The star is deteriorating much faster than predicted. I'm detecting intense radiation and heat. The planet's upper oceans must be near boiling. Can the Talions survive those conditions? G asked. Not for long, Lee answered. Even in the deepest parts of their oceans, the temperature would eventually rise too high. Send the greeting message we prepared, G ordered Communications Officer SEO. Let them know we're here to help. SEO sent the message, and they waited. Minutes passed. Then an hour. No response. SEO finally reported. G's heart sank. Are we too late? Wait, said SEO suddenly. I'm getting something. It's faint, coming from deep in the ocean. She put it on the speakers. A crackling voice spoke in an unfamiliar language. The ship's computer quickly translated. Unknown vessel. This is Deep Haven City. Few of us remain. Most cities lost. Can you help us? Yes, G responded immediately. We are humans from Earth. We received your distress call. We've come to help evacuate your people. There was a long pause before the reply came. Many promised to come. None did. Why should we believe you? G thought carefully before answering. Because we're already here. We can send down a small ship to meet with you, to prove our intentions. After another long pause. Sending coordinates for safe landing zone. Water pressure very high. Can your vessels withstand it? G looked at Chief Engineer Sun, who nodded confidently. Yes, our landing craft can handle deep ocean conditions. 4 hours later, G sat in the small submersible craft as it descended through the dark waters of the Talian world. Through the thick windows, she could see that the once blue ocean now had an unhealthy reddish tint from the dying sun above. Approaching the coordinates, said Pilot Choi. 2,000 meters depth, 3,000. G had never been so deep in any ocean. The pressure outside would crush a human body instantly. She wondered what kind of beings could live comfortably under such conditions. I see lights, said Security Chief Yoon, pointing ahead. A structure appeared from the darkness. It looked like a collection of large bubbles made of some clear, strong material. Lights glowed inside, revealing movement. They're waiting for us, said Han, checking his translation device one last time. The submersible docked at an airlock that somehow removed the water and allowed them to enter, while keeping the ocean outside. G and her team put on their special breathing masks, as the air inside would be different from what humans needed. When the inner door opened, G became the first human to meet an alien species face to face. Elder Nari stood before them, her blue-tinged, skin glistening with moisture. She was taller than a human, with large black eyes adapted for seeing in deep water. Webbed hands and feet showed her species' water origins. Behind her stood several other Telians looking at the humans with a mixture of fear, hope, and wonder. You actually came, Nari said through the translator. When all others ignored our cries. We came as soon as we heard your message. G replied simply. On Earth, we don't ignore calls for help. Nari's large eyes blinked slowly. But you are smaller than us. Your technology seems simpler than others who received our calls. Why would you help when more advanced beings would not? G smiled behind her breathing mask. Sometimes being advanced doesn't mean being wise or kind. We may be new to space travel, but humans understand one important thing. What is that? Asked Nari. That we're all sharing this galaxy together, G answered. Today you need help. Tomorrow it might be us. That's how it should work. For the first time in years, hope appeared in Elder Nari's eyes. Back on Earth, Director Kim stood before the United Nations Security Council. The large screen behind him showed images of the dying Talian world, its oceans churning violently under the red glare of their unstable sun. We need to send more ships, Kim said firmly. The UES Mercy has confirmed there are nearly 40,000 Talians still alive, but their remaining cities are failing. Captain G estimates they have 3 months at most. The French representative leaned forward. Do we have enough ships capable of such a journey? We have 4 more vessels that can be converted for deep space travel, Kim replied. If we work quickly. The room fell silent when the doors opened and a tall figure entered. It wasn't human. The being stood over 7 feet tall with gray skin and large black eyes. Everyone recognized Ambassador Q, the first representative sent by the Galactic Council to Earth just 2 weeks ago. Excuse my interruption, Q said in perfect English, but I must inform you of the Council's official position on this matter. The Secretary General nodded. Please, Ambassador. The rescue of the Talian species violates our oldest directive of non-interference, Q stated coldly. Species that cannot save themselves should not be saved. This is the natural order. Natural order? Kim couldn't help himself. There's nothing natural about turning your back on those who need help. Q's expression didn't change. If you proceed with this rescue, Earth will face serious consequences. No trade agreements, no technology sharing. Your planet will be isolated from the galactic community you've only just discovered. The room erupted in concerned whispers. The Secretary General raised a hand for silence. Ambassador, are you saying that helping save an entire species from extinction would make us outcasts? Precisely, Q replied. The Council has voted. The Talion extinction is regrettable but necessary. After Q left, the debate raged for hours. Some nations wanted to back down, fearing isolation from the advanced societies they had just learned existed. Others refused to abandon the rescue mission. The Secretary General finally stood. Let us vote. Will we help the Talions, even at the cost of our standing with these other worlds? When the votes were counted, the result was clear. Earth would send its ships. The natural order, the Secretary General said quietly to Kim as they left, is whatever we choose to make it. On the Talion world, Engineer Song worked alongside the local scientist Moon in a hastily built floating platform above one of the last surviving underwater cities. Both wore special suits. Song's to help her breathe underwater when needed, and Moon's to protect his water-based body from drying out in the air. Your people breathe water, Song said, examining the plans on her tablet. Our ships are designed, for air breathers. We need to completely change our life support systems. Moon's large eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of excitement in his species. We have developed chambers that can maintain water environment. If we combine this with your ship designs, they worked day and night, human engineers and Talion scientists finding solutions no single species would have discovered alone. The Talions had never built spacecraft, but they understood how to create structures that could withstand enormous pressure, exactly what would be needed for spaceships carrying water-filled chambers. As they worked, the oceans grew more violent. 3 more Talion cities reported structural failures. Time was running out. One night, as Song was sleeping in the human quarters of the platform, alarms blared. She rushed out to find Security Chief Yoon organizing a response team. What's happening? She asked, still pulling on her work suit. Sabotage, Yoon replied grimly. Someone has damaged the main construction facility. They hurried to the underwater construction bay where the evacuation vessels were being built. Water was pouring in through a large hole in the outer wall. Talion workers were frantically trying to seal it. Who would do this? Song asked, helping to move important equipment to higher ground. Yoon's face was grim. We caught glimpses of them on security cameras. Not human, not Talion either. Later that night, Captain G called an emergency meeting with Elder Nari and the human team leaders. The saboteurs were from a species called the Vorn. According to what we've learned, they're members of the Galactic Council. The Council is actively trying to stop us, said Yoon. This wasn't just a warning. Elder Nari's skin had paled to a light blue, a sign of distress in her species. Perhaps we were wrong to accept your help. We don't want to bring trouble to your world. G shook her head firmly. Earth has made its decision. We're not leaving. The next morning, a large ship appeared in orbit around the Talion world. It was sleek, clearly more advanced than anything humans had built. We're being hailed, Communications Officer CO reported. Stern face appeared on the screen, another member of the same species as Ambassador Q. This is Overseer Tay of the Galactic Council. Your interference has been noted and will not be tolerated. Leave this system immediately. Captain G stood tall. We're conducting a humanitarian mission at the request of the Talion people. We will not abandon them. The alien's expression hardened. Then we will remove you ourselves. The transmission ended abruptly. Moments later, the platform shook as energy beams from the council ship struck the ocean nearby, causing massive waves. They're not aiming to hit us directly, said Science Officer Lee. They're trying to create waves big enough to destroy our work. G turned to Engineer Song. How much longer do you need to complete the first evacuation ship? At least a week, Song answered. Maybe 5 days if we work non-stop. You have 3 days, G said, watching as another energy beam hit the water. I don't think our unwelcome visitors plan to wait longer than that. Engineer Song looked at Scientist Moon. The Talion gave the hand gesture that meant impossible in their culture. Song smiled. Humans have a saying, impossible just means try harder. That night, as the council ship continued its intimidation, 3 more ships appeared in the system. Human ships. The reinforcements from Earth had arrived early, bringing more workers, more supplies, and a clear message. Humanity would not back down. The first massive evacuation ship entered Talion orbit as the angry red sun flared again. Down on the floating platform, Transport Coordinator Choi checked his tablet one last time. "Final systems check complete," he announced to the tired team around him. "The Water Carrier 1 is ready for passengers." It had been the hardest engineering challenge humanity had ever faced. In just 14 days, they had turned a science vessel into a giant aquatic life support system. The ship now contained huge tanks filled with ocean water, modified to maintain the correct pressure, temperature, and chemistry for Talion life. Elder, Nari stood beside Captain G, watching the sky where the ship waited, invisible from the planet's surface but a source of enormous hope. "How many can it carry?" Nari asked, her voice trembling slightly. 8,000, G replied. "And we have 3 more ships nearly ready. The UES Hope will arrive in 2 days, followed by the UES Future and UES Unity." Nari's large eyes blinked rapidly. "That's still not enough for all who remain." "The ships will make multiple trips," G explained. "We'll evacuate the most vulnerable first, then return for more." In the distance, the Galactic Council ship still hovered. After the arrival of the additional Earth vessels, it had stopped firing energy beams but remained watching. Occasionally, smaller ships would leave it, flying high over the Talion cities as if counting the survivors. "They're still hoping we'll fail," G said, watching one such ship pass overhead. The evacuation began at dawn the next day. From the deepest remaining Talion city, families emerged carrying only what they could hold in their webbed hands. Most had never been close to the surface before. The bright light of their dying sun, even filtered through the churning water, made them shield their large eyes. Human divers in special suits guided them to the transport submarines that would take them to the surface platforms, where shuttlecraft waited to carry them to the orbiting evacuation ship. Young Talion children, their translucent fins quivering with excitement rather than fear, pointed at the strange human helpers. Many had never seen any species but their own. "Will Earth have big oceans for us?" a small Talion asked Engineer Song as she helped fit him with a special water-filled travel suit. "The biggest," Song assured him with a smile. "Deeper than you can imagine, and blue, not red like these are now." As the first group of refugees reached the Water Carrier 1, they were greeted by Medical Officer Jun, who had prepared special areas for any who became sick during the journey. The Talions were naturally hardy, evolved to withstand the crushing pressures of deep oceans, but space travel would be entirely new to them. "Welcome," June said through her translator. "This will be your home for the next month as we travel to Earth. We've done our best to make it comfortable." The Talion passengers gasped as they were led to the main habitat tank. The humans had gone beyond mere survival accommodations. They had created an underwater garden with plants brought from the Talion world, lighting that mimicked their natural deep ocean environment, and privacy areas for families to stay together. "You did all this in 2 weeks?" Elder Nari asked Captain G in amazement. "Humans are good at solving problems when we're motivated," G replied, "and saving your people is the best motivation we could have." The loading continued day and night. As the first ship filled, they received news that the UES Hope had arrived early and was ready to begin taking passengers immediately. But on the 5th day of evacuation, disaster struck. The Talion sun let out its largest flare yet. The ocean temperature rose dramatically in just hours. 2 more underwater cities reported critical dome failures. "We need to speed up," Transport Coordinator Choi told Captain G. "At this rate, we'll lose thousands before we can get them out." G made a difficult decision. "We'll send the Water Carrier 1 to Earth now, even though it's not completely full. The Hope will stay and take as many as it can. When the Future and Unity arrive, we'll split them, 1 to take refugees to Earth, 1 to stay and continue the evacuation." As the first ship departed with 6,000 Talions aboard, the underwater cities began emergency evacuations. Families who had lived their entire lives in the deep were forced to move to shallow waters, crowding into temporary shelters built by human engineers. The Galactic Council ship moved closer, observing the increasing chaos. To everyone's surprise, a small shuttle detached from it and landed on the main platform. Ambassador Q emerged, his tall gray form standing out among the humans rushing to help arriving Talians. "Captain G," he called out. "A moment of your time." G was helping load supplies and didn't stop working. "I'm a little busy saving lives." "That's precisely why I'm here," Q said, his voice oddly hesitant. "The Council has, reconsidered its position." G paused, looking up at the alien diplomat. "3 other species have contacted the Council in the past day," Q continued. "They've questioned our non-interference policy in light of your actions. There is growing disagreement among member worlds. And," G prompted, "and I have been authorized to offer assistance," Q said, the words clearly difficult for him. "Our vessel can transport 20,000 Telians in a single trip." G studied the alien's face, looking for deception. Why the change of heart? Q looked around at the humans working tirelessly alongside the Talians. Perhaps we have been wrong. Perhaps some natural order should be changed. As the sun flared again overhead, G made another difficult decision: to trust. "We'll accept your help, but I'm sending human crew members aboard your ship to ensure our standards of care are met." The final Telian city collapsed that night, hours after the last resident had been evacuated. As the planet's oceans began to boil from the surface down, Captain G stood on the command platform watching the shuttles make their final trips. "That's the last group," Transport Coordinator Choi reported. "All Talians are now off-planet." "All?" G asked sharply. "Where's Elder Nari? I haven't seen her board yet." Choi checked his tablet and frowned. "She's not on any manifest. Let me check." G didn't wait. She grabbed a communication device. "Elder Nari, please respond. Where are you?" After a long pause, Nari's voice came through. "I'm at the Cultural Archive Center. There are still records to save." G looked out at the increasingly violent ocean. The center was 10 miles away, in an area already experiencing dangerous conditions. "Leave them," G ordered. "There's no time. Our entire history is here," Nari replied calmly. "If I don't save it, who we were dies with our world." G grabbed her gear. "Send a shuttle to the archive center," she told Choi. "I'm going after her." "Captain, the conditions are too dangerous," Choi protested. "That's an order," G said, already running toward the small submarines. "No one gets left behind, not even the stubborn ones." 6 months after the evacuation, Elder Nari stood on the shore of Earth's newly established Telian Ocean Sanctuary. The morning sun reflected off the calm waters of the protected bay in New Zealand. Unlike the angry red sun of their homeworld, Earth's yellow star felt gentle and stable. Nari wore a special moisture suit that kept her skin wet while allowing her to move around in air for short periods. Behind her, a group of human engineers were putting final touches on the huge underwater habitat. It was the 5th such habitat, completed around Earth's oceans, each one designed to recreate the conditions of the Talian homeworld. Some were in deep waters, while others, like this one, were built in shallower regions to help the Talians slowly adapt to their new home. "The temperature regulation systems are all functioning perfectly," said Engineer Song, joining Nari on the shore. "The deepest chambers maintain the pressure levels you requested." Nari nodded gratefully. "My people are adapting well, the children especially." She watched as a group of young Talians played in the shallows nearby. They wore no suits, just special breathing devices that helped them extract oxygen from the water more efficiently. Earth's oceans were different from their home waters, but the Talian body was remarkably adaptable. Playing alongside them were human children in diving gear, their laughter carrying across the water. They were teaching each other games, the humans showing the Talians how to build sandcastles at the water's edge, the Talians teaching the humans how to speak in underwater sound patterns. "They don't see differences, just new friends," Song observed with a smile. Director Kim arrived, walking carefully across the wet sand in his formal suit. He had flown in from Seoul for the official opening ceremony of the sanctuary. "Elder Nari," he greeted her with a respectful bow. How are you finding your new home? It is not what we were used to, Nari admitted honestly. But it is alive, and so are we, thanks to humans. Kim looked out at the ocean. The council representatives are arriving soon. They've requested a tour of the facility. Nari's facial fins flickered, a sign of mild amusement. They want to see if you've treated us properly, as if they cared for our welfare before. The Galactic Council had undergone significant changes in the months since the Talion rescue. The dramatic mission had sent ripples through the galactic community. Several younger spacefaring species had openly questioned the Council's non-interference policy. Some had even begun separate diplomatic relations with Earth, impressed by humanity's compassion. Ambassador Q has been replaced, Kim told her. The new representative is supposed to be more progressive. We'll see, Nari said cautiously. Later that day, the new council representatives arrived. To everyone's surprise, they were accompanied by delegates from 4 other species that had never before visited Earth. The group was led by a tall being named Min, from the same species as Q, but with noticeably warmer mannerisms. Earth has done something remarkable, Min said during the formal meeting. You have shown that technological advancement and ethical advancement need not be separate paths. We did what anyone should have done, Captain G replied. She had received Earth's highest honors for the rescue mission, and now served as humanity's chief diplomat to the galactic community. Not anyone, Min corrected her. No one else did. That is why we are here today. The council had brought a proposal. For the first time in its long history, it would create a new position, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, and they wanted a human to fill it. Your species sees things differently, Min explained. Perhaps that fresh perspective is exactly what the council has needed for a long time. As the diplomats continued their discussions, Elder Nari slipped away to check on her people. In the large underwater dome of the main habitat, Talion families were settling into their new homes. The structures resembled their lost cities in many ways, but with distinctly Earth touches. Windows made from stronger materials, lighting systems that could change to match their preferences, and communication panels that connected to the human world above. In one of the teaching chambers, Nari found young Talion Bay helping a class of mixed Talion and human students. The humans wore advanced diving gear that let them stay underwater for hours. This is how our alphabet works, Bay was explaining, projecting glowing symbols onto the water. Each character represents both a sound and a water current pattern. The human children tried to make the hand movements that accompanied each symbol, their fingers lacking the webbing that made it easy for Talions. Bay noticed Nari watching and swam over to her. Elder, did you know the humans are working on a new kind of ship? One that could travel between stars but stay filled with water. The whole time? Nari hadn't heard this. For us to use? For us to build together, Bay said excitedly. My human friend's mother works at the Space Center. She says Talion knowledge of pressure systems could revolutionize their ship designs. That evening, as Earth's sun set over the sanctuary, Captain G joined Nari on a floating platform. Below them, lights from the underwater city created a beautiful blue glow that rippled across the surface. Your world is gone, G said softly. I'm sorry we couldn't save it. A world is more than a place, Nari replied. It is the life that fills it, the stories it holds, the future it promises. She gestured to where young Talions and humans were still playing in the twilight waters. Our world continues here. On the beach, a small Talion child extended a webbed hand to his human friend, helping her balance as she tried to stand in the gentle waves. My grandmother says we would all be gone if not for humans, he said in carefully practiced English. The human girl smiled. My mom says that's what neighbors do, they help each other. Above them, Earth's sun sank below the horizon, ending another day of life for 2 species now sharing one world. In the deepening darkness, the stars became visible. Countless points of light, each possibly home to other civilizations watching how this unexpected partnership would unfold. Tomorrow, Nari said to G, I would like to learn how to plant an earth tree, something that will grow for centuries. Why? G asked. To mark our beginning, Nari answered, and to remind future generations that sometimes the universe's greatest gifts come when you least expect them, when every species ignores your cry except the one you never knew existed.